So you can see we're getting the idea of this water in. And we'll of course be adding some reflections once we get our trees in. So we'll have some reflections that'll come right down in here. I'm going to pick up a little bit of purple. You can use lavender or whatever color that you would like to, and start to put the idea of some trees in back here. Now the trees are way back, a ways back there, so we're not seeing the individual branches really. But we're just kind of grouping them together over here on the shore. You can have some of them that come up further if you want, that's absolutely fine. But nothing real definite. Sort of a indefinite looking forest there. And we'll bring that right on down to this little piece of land that we've made here that juts out into our water. There we go. So we've got the idea of some trees here. And I'm going to add a little bit more white to my paper plate that I'm using as a palette. Trying to squeeze the last bit out of this. I don't like to waste, but it might be that I have to go to a new tube. Yeah, let's just go ahead and I've got plenty more paints over here, so let me grab another white and I'll let you keep painting while I do that. Okay, so I've got a little bit more white, and I'll just give the idea of maybe there's a little bit of snow that's coming down the bank here towards the water. All right, and we can get a little bit more of that purple. You might be using lavender. And I'm going to get a little bit of the blue. And just give maybe a bit more idea of the mountains back here. Maybe this is a little bit closer here. So now we've got a nice little bank over here too. And now we'll take a little bit more of the white and kind of create a diagonal piece of land. It's going to come at an angle right across the front of our canvas. And of course that's going to be the part of the painting that's the closest to us. Now the great thing is, as you're watching this, you'll be able to stop anytime you need to. If I'm going too quickly, you'll be able to stop and watch what I'm doing with just the speed that you need. I'll add a little bit of this turquoise up in here too. And maybe a little bit more purple. I've got a fairly big brush still. I'm just sticking with this same one. And just using the edge of it, we can put maybe the idea of a few more trees in here, catching the edge of the brush, and you know, the idea of some trunks and some branches. And maybe it gets a little darker down close to the edge. And then we can take a little bit of that purple and just, you know, create a little bit more of the idea of the reflection in here. We'll just darken up the edge right here of the bank. And yours doesn't have to look like mine. However yours is looking right now, that's absolutely fine. But the idea, we're working in acrylic, so the idea is to keep things going pretty quickly here. Although you could do this, this little painting in oils, that would be fine too. But with acrylic, we don't have that much opportunity to blend once it dries, so that's why we want to keep moving along here. There we go. And we can do the same thing over here, just give that a little bit more depth maybe, and okay, so we've got the basic background, and we've also created the idea of some water and a place for these bigger trees in the foreground to grow. So we want the colors that are closest to us to be more vivid. So this time I'm going to use the purple, and it's going to be much brighter. So I'm going to start up at the top of my canvas, and I'm just going to create a tree that comes all the way down to our snowbank there. I'm going to curve it a little bit at the bottom. We don't want it to look too straight as it comes into the snow. And let's give it some branches. It doesn't have to be real branchy, but it needs a few. Here I might have to switch over to a smaller brush so I can be a little more precise with those branches. So I've got something like this. This should work okay. Make sure that's not in your way. And I'm going back into my purple paint, and I'll make sure that I try to get a little bit of a curve. A nice graceful arc in with my branches. We can add a little bit of snow to those too. we go. And let's put a little bit of the turquoise that we used in the sky. We can add a little bit of that to the middle of our tree there. And we'll darken the left-hand edge just to give it more of an idea of roundness and dimension. So you can add however many branches you want here. Maybe we'll put some branches in that are a little bit lower. Maybe a few more here. Maybe one that aims down, that's fine too. Now we're going to take some of the purple paint and again start at the very top of our canvas. We're going to add another tree. Sometimes with the acrylics you have to add a little water to the paint after it's sat out a bit, because it'll start to get dry, and in order to have a nice edge we want it to be a little bit wetter. And we'll get a nice edge to it going over here. And let's add some branches. We'll let some branches come over in front of our first tree. Maybe a few more here. Again, you can have as many branches as you want, as few as you want. My only caution is to just make sure that you use the more vivid colors in the foreground. I'm using a little turquoise now and giving it just a little bit of shading in the middle. And of course, if you want to add more colors, this is a limited palette that I'm using, but feel free. You can add more. Maybe you want to add some green to the background that we've created here to give the idea of some evergreen trees. I'm just adding a little bit more shading here, and we can put, maybe the idea of a little snow back here clinging to the branches and the trees back here. Maybe a little highlight along the bank here. doing the same thing along this bank. And we're gonna put in the idea of some shadows here too, for being cast by our trees. So we'll use purple and then some of the turquoise too. And if you didn't know it, there's plenty of wonderful paints down in the art room, which, if I remember right, at the Hermitage is on level B. So you've got Janet there that can help you find whatever you need. You can paint up in your room and watch this lesson on the TV channel that you have there at the Hermitage, which would be great. Just adding a little bit more snow in here. And I know some of you have been painting a lot longer and can maybe do more details on this, and that's absolutely fine. But for people that might be painting for the first time and haven't had a lot of experience, you can make this very simple and stick with the limited palette. And wherever you want, you can shade the snow a little bit more with that lovely turquoise. And up here we can add a little snow wherever you want on these branches. Just use the same little brush and you can give the idea of some snow stuck in whatever the cricks are that you want to show that. That's absolutely fine. Maybe a little bit on this one. And I'm just adding a little contrast down here. And now let's take a little bit of the white and just kind of pull that through the water. Just give an idea of a little bit of the reflection there. Just little straight lines. And we can go back up and maybe put a few little clouds in here if you want. Especially in the background here. Maybe the sky gets a little bit lighter back there. And let's add a little bit more reflection over here of our trees. I'm doing that with a little bit of the purple. And we'll pull some more white through here. Getting a little bit of light reflected on the surface of the water there. And let's just lighten up the edges of our trees over here. So I'll get a very just a little bit of a light color here. So I'm just giving a little bit of purple mixed with white right along the edge here. Just go in and darken up our limbs that are curving over here a little. And you can add whatever else you want to the painting. If you want to add some more little branches, you could add a little, maybe there's a little tree down here that's sticking out of the snow. But that will give you a basic little snow scene, and we've done that in less than an hour. Stop whenever you need to along the way to catch up if I was going a little fast for you. But it was wonderful painting with you, and I'll be looking forward to being back at the Hermitage Live. But until then, we'll do a few more of these little canvases together. Take care, stay healthy, and stay warm. Bye-bye.